Okay, so what is a abstract factory design pattern? The abstract factory design pattern is a creational pattern that produces families of related or dependent objects without specifying their concrete clauses. It's often called a factory of factories. It defines an interface for creating objects, letting subclasses determine which product to create. The benefit of this design pattern is that it ensures objects from the same family are used together, and it decouples code from concrete classes, and it makes systems easier to extend, and it follows the open and close principle, and it also promotes consistency among all products. Let's go to the next slide. So here we have our abstract factory design pattern example. We have our product interfaces, we have our core interface, our engine interface. Since this example is on core products, for our core interface that have the drive signature method, and below that we have our engine interface that has the start signature method. Let's go on to the next slide and see what will happen. So here we have a Toyota products. For our Toyota products, we have a Toyota car subclass that implement the car interface that we had previously, and we are required to implement the drive method. So meaning whenever we try to call this drive method from the Toyota class object, we should print out driving a Toyota car, and below that we have our Toyota engine class that implements the engine interface, and we also require to implement the start method. And when we try to invoke the start method from the Toyota engine subclass, we should have starting a Toyota engine printed out on our console. Let's go on to the next slide. Now with our BMW products, we have BMW car that implements the car interface, and when we try to invoke the drive method from the BMW car class object, we should have driving a BMW car printed out on our console, and below that we have a BMW engine class that implements the engine interface, and we are also required to implement the start method, which when invoked should print out starting a BMW engine. Can you guys see the consistency in the products? The engine, the Toyota product follow the same procedure, and look, the BM product is also following the same procedure. If you were to add a new product, maybe a Mercedes, it will also have follow the same procedure, which is quite great for consistency. And then we have our abstract factory interface that helps us in building our products. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Here we have our Toyota factory class that implements the car factory interface. It will help us now build our Toyota product up. We are required to implement the create core interface. No, the create core, my bad. The create core method, and we just return the Toyota core object, and below that we are required to create the engine, and we just return the Toyota engine object. Let's go to the next slide. This is the Toyota factory, and then we have a BMW factory that implements the car factory interface, and we are required to implement the create car method as well, and we just return the new BMW car object, and below that we have we're required to implement the create engine method, and we just return the new BMW engine object. Let's go to the next slide, and here we have our client code. So we have our core factory interface, and we have our factory reference. We just say equals to new Toyota factory, so that means we will go with the Toyota. We will now start our process of creating our Toyota product. Below that we have our create, we invoke our create core method, and we will create our Toyota core. We will create our Toyota core object, and below that we have a create engine method invoked from the factory interface, and there we will just create our Toyota engine object. And below we have core.drive invoked and engine.start invoked. Whenever we call the core.drive method, we should have driving a Toyota car printed out, and below we have a engine.start method invoked from the engine interface, and we should have starting a Toyota engine printed out. The same would go for BMW. If you were to, at the factory reference, if you were to say equals to new BMW factory, you should have driving a BMW car printed out and starting a BMW engine printed out instead of the current expected results. But yeah, we'll also be coding next. That's what we'll be doing next, and just explore this abstract factory design pattern through our code, and yeah, go into it a bit in depth and try on some more cool stuff. Yes, so please stay tuned. Let's go. Okay, now we'll be coding the abstract factory design pattern example. We'll try to show it to code, and I'll try to go into more into depth about abstract factory design pattern through this coding practice. Okay, let's start off with router package, and also our BMW package. Lovely. And add our core interface, which should have our drive as a signature, and then let's have our engine interface, which should have our start as a signature. So now let's create our Toyota car. Okay, Toyota car, and implement the car interface. Let's do that. Just print out driving a Toyota car, and yeah, let's also create our engine, our Toyota engine class, and implement the engine interface with the start method, and we can just say starting a Toyota engine. Yeah, sure. Yeah, make this capital. See, okay, same as here. And now let's build our Toyota factory class. Toyota factory class. Okay. Yeah. Before build our Toyota factory class, we should have a factory interface. Our car factory interface. Car, okay. Yeah. Rename. We should have car interface, and I should say create car method signature, and then we should also have engine interface and say create engine signature. So in our Toyota factory, we'll have to implement the car interface, and yeah, just implement the methods for that. Since we already have our Toyota car, we'll just say new Toyota car, return the Toyota, and for engine, just say new Toyota engine, return Toyota engine class. Now let's come here and let's say car factory is equal to new Toyota factory, and try to create the car. Okay, let me implement. Yeah, so let me say com is equal to factory and create our car object, and have our engine interface is equal to, from this factory class, create our engine. And now let's say car dot drive. You will call the drive and car dot, okay, yeah, car dot drive and engine dot start. Let's see what happens when we invoke those methods. Ah, lovely. We have driving a Toyota car printed out and starting a Toyota engine printed out. Yeah, so now let's quickly create our BM product. Okay, let's say BMW car, implement the car interface, implement methods, sys out, okay, driving a BMW car, also create a new class which is BMW engine. Yeah, let's just implement the engine interface, and yeah, sys out starting a BMW engine, print it out. And yeah, we can also, yeah, now let's create our BM BMW factory class and implement the car factory interface. Can just return the new BMW car. Whenever we have to create a car from the BMW factory object, new BMW engine, return BMW engine whenever we try to create the BMW engine. So now I'll just go to the main, just see how cool this is. Instead of saying new Toyota, I'll say new BMW factory, and let's see what happens when you try to drive, even start our engine from the BMW factory. Lovely. We have driving a BMW car printed out and starting a BMW engine printed out. Yeah, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was your example on abstract factory method design pattern.